Hi, my name is Patrick Egan, and today I'm going to talk about a young adult literature story called Starcrossed by Elizabeth Bunce. I read this story on my iPad, on the Kindle app. It's a great story. The story is about a 6-year-old girl named Digger who lives in the city of Jers. Digger is a part of a group or a family of thieves. They get hired to do certain jobs, to steal certain documents, to impersonate various people. Digger is very good at what she does, and she and her group get hired to steal some papers. The papers they are stealing with, though, are some of the king's papers, and the robbery goes awry. Digger loses her entire team as they flee the scene. The king's guardsmen track them all down one by one and prevent them from escaping, all of them, that is, except Digger. Digger takes the papers and decides she needs to flee the city for her own safety. Digger heads out of the city, and she encounters a group of 4 nobles, young nobles, on her way out, and they're called knobs. These 4 knobs are heading to the Nemar estate, of which one of them is a Nemar, Mary Nemar, and Digger decides to tag along. She tells them that her name is Celine, and she's running out of the city because her brother wants to send her to the convent, and she wants no part of this. Digger then decides to follow along with them as Celine, and she listens to their story, and they're going to a new castle that Mary Nemar's parents have purchased. The castle is out in the middle of nowhere. It's secluded. It's in the mountains, and no one ever really goes there. No one is living in the castle now. Mary's parents have been away for a while. We aren't told at this time why they're away. You do find out later in the book, and Celine decides to go along with them. Once she's there, she takes the job as Mary's handmaiden, and she helps Mary get ready for a coming-of-age party. While she's at the castle, she finds that there's a lot more going on with the Nemar family than she ever imagined. The Nemars are inviting all their friends over to get ready for Mary's party, but the party is actually, there's hidden agenda going on at this party. One of the family friends is Dahl, who recognizes Digger from her work in the city of Jers. He then blackmails Digger into working for him. He wants her to find out if the Nemars are harboring anyone who uses magic. Digger doesn't want anyone to know who she is, so she reluctantly works for Dahl, even though she's keeping stuff from Dahl because she doesn't want him to realize that she actually likes the Nemars and she likes her new life. I'm going to read you a passage now from about one of the missions that Digger goes on. Nobody took this much care to hide an empty hole. I peeled myself from the floor and rolled a scrap of paper into a taper that I lit from the tinderbox on the workbench. Carefully, I lowered the burning taper into the hole and found what I was hoping for, stairs. Moving slowly so the taper didn't blow out, I slid, feet first, over the polished edge and opening and dropped easily down to the stone floor below. Well, I was in now. The opening above me glowed with square silver light, making it easy to see the distance I'd have to climb out again. One good jump and I'd be able to grab the edges, but that was for later. I gathered my skirts in one hand and edged downward, the flickering taper throwing the passage into uneven light. The stairs twisted down in a tight spiral, each tread barely wide enough for even my small feet. The passage had been constructed for secrecy, not convenience. There was no dust on the stairs, but I didn't know if that was because they were used often, or just that no dust ever found its way this deep. When I found myself on the flat ground once more, I paused for a moment, feeling the darkness pressing in all around me. When I was small, I spent a lot of time hiding in dark places like this, tucked behind the shelves in the root cellar, or curled up in a tight catacomb. I felt safe in dark and silence. The world went on, however wicked or righteous, far above, never touching the lives of mice and spiders below. The landing was hardly big enough to turn around in, let alone conceal anything as bulky as a stash of firearms. I moved the taper into a slow arc, showing up the space I found myself in. Shadows flew out of its range, up in the darkness above me and against the stone walls, barely an arm reach away. After turning 3/4 of a way around in the space, I came face to face with a small, smooth, wooden wall. Wood was good at conceal hinges. I squint with a view to the room beyond, a catch for a secret door. I shone my dubious light over the wall and found the scene, tracing it along my fingers until I felt the notch out of a hollowed hatch. Just an easy toggle with my finger, The door eased open, inching toward me with a click. Now Digger goes on to find something hidden in the castle. From this moment on in the story, Digger makes a concerted effort to help Mary and her family out. There are many twists and turns that go on throughout the novel, including some with Digger's own family. The novel is very mysterious. Has a lot of adventure. There's romance. There's political intrigue. There's religious persecution. The novel has a little bit of everything. That is why I think students in middle school and high school will really, really enjoy this book. I also think adults will enjoy this book. My wife is someone who I like to call a reluctant reader. I finally convinced her to read this book over the summer after I read it. After much convincing, she read it and she loved it. This is a page turner. You will find it very, very hard to put down. There is a sequel coming on this book. Actually, it just came out. And I can't wait to read it. To further convince you to read this book, it's only $2.99 now on the Amazon Kindle store. I would give this 5 out of 5 stars. It is a great, great book. Another reason why I really, really like it is a lot of times with fantasy, you don't see a strong female lead. And in this story, we have a strong female lead. Digger is a great character. I think everyone can identify with her. You can see this story being made out into a movie. I highly, highly recommend it, and I hope that you read it and